Hello, 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 and welcome to our video on becoming fully licensed, dropping the L, right? Becoming fully licensed. I'm Dr. Catherine E. James, the president of Mahaka, and joining me is
Lori Rowe from Professional Psychotherapy Services in Marshall, Michigan.
Yes, it is our pleasure to be with you. And our purposes of these series of video is to help clarify or demystify the process of becoming fully licensed and what do you do in the stages. So we have come up with basically three stages, and this video talks about stage three. So hopefully you've seen video one that is really talking about the licensure piece. You are now a graduate and you're completing a license to become an LLPC. That's the first video. Video two talks about the gap where they're just waiting, right, Laura?
Yeah, that waiting for that piece of paper to come in and say you're an LLPC and you can start to practice.
That's right. That's right. So that's our video two. And now this video, the third video, is what do you do? What does it look like in order to become fully licensed? What does it look like? So Laura, you want to take the first part and we'll fill in the gaps.
Right. So the first part is looking at a 2-year minimum time period of getting supervision, seeing clients, and just getting your ducks in a row so that you can feel more grounded in the process of doing therapy. Now, you have up to 10 years to do that, and there is 100 hours of supervision that you need to fit in during that time. Since you applied for the LARA, you've already picked out a supervisor, so you're going to have some ideas with that supervisor on how supervision is going to go. So minimum of 2 years to get that 100 hours, and you can take as much as 10 years to get that done.
Yeah. And so to reiterate what Lori have said, so we have taken you through being not having a license. You just graduated. You have a license. Well, you had to wait on the license, and then you got the license, and you began practicing, whether that's private practice, community mental health, or whatever it is, wherever you landed, you land. Actually, there's so many places now that we can land as licensed professional counselors and limited licensed professional counselors. So we're very excited that you're here, that you've chosen this particular profession. We certainly have been tremendously benefited from it. And so I'm getting confused as to which video. I'm getting ready to say welcome, but actually in this video, you've been here for a while because this is about getting fully licensed. So you've already practiced, you've already landed, you've already gotten your feet wet. You know what it is to be with clients. You know what it is to do intakes and all of those kinds of things. Because in order to become fully licensed, as Lori said, you would have had to practice a minimum of 2 years. You cannot get a full licensure before 2 years. So you would have had to practice 2 years. You would have had to have gained completed 100 face-to-face supervision hours with a licensed supervisor, with a qualified supervisor. And you can go to the state of Michigan website, Laura's website, to find out what that means to have a qualified supervisor. They have to be trained, right? So 100 face-to-face hours where you've met with your supervisor, and 3,000 practice hours is a minimum. That must be completed. 3,000 hours of practice, 100 face-to-face supervision hours in a minimum of 2 years, and you must pass your NCE, your National Counselor's Exam. All those things must be done before you are really ready to apply for your full license. Now, as Lori said, you can be a limited license for 10 years, a maximum of 10 years. So we strongly suggest that you take that exam as soon as possible. Sooner, quicker, faster, quicker, don't wait 10 years to take it, because it's just easier to take it when you're closer to getting out of school than having waited and gone into practice. And then from what many students have told me or practitioners have told me who waited, it just becomes a weight on them. It's all there in the back of their mind. So if you can get it done earlier, that's my strong suggestion that you do.
Absolutely. And keeping track of all the work that you do is going to be really important. Keeping track in a way that's easy for you, whether you use Excel spreadsheets or just paper pencil, whatever you need to do, you need to track and really look at all the work that you're doing. I know with different supervisors, they may have a certain form that they want you to use, but come up with something so that you can really look at that and say, wow, I'm putting in quite an effort here. And maybe also consider scheduling in time to study for and set a goal as to when you want to take that exam.
Yes, absolutely. So this whole conversation is about becoming fully licensed, or a short way to talk about it is dropping the L. Right now, you are once you've gotten to this stage that we're talking about, excuse me, you are an LLPC, a limited licensed professional counselor. The goal, one of the privileges that we have as counselors, is we can be fully licensed at the master's level. That's a privilege that we have. So you want to make sure that you, I'm looking at, I pulled up a note here. I said, so take the NCE for full licensure, but then I talked about retooling. Remember, we had talked about that.
Oh, yes, we have. Yeah.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that. And so I'm talking about CEUs here. CEUs are not a legal requirement for our license for LLPCs or LPCs. So just so we get that out the way, there's not a legal requirement. Why? Because as professionals, we know that we must continue to retool. We don't need an outside, we don't need the law to tell us that we need to retool, right? That's something that we understand fully. And so it's not in our license, but certainly if you are at the place where you're ready to drop the L, certainly you've done some additional training after graduation. That's what we assume, right, Lori?
Absolutely. And there are 2 trainings that the state requires of all practitioners in many different fields. They're not just picking on the counselors, but the state of Michigan requires that there be a continuing education, which MAHACA, by the way, has a class in this on human trafficking. Yes. And then there is another course that the state is requiring on implicit bias.
Yes.
Now, those are things that, you take them one time and you're done. But I feel these are things that you could benefit by refreshing on from time to time.
Yeah.
The information changes, the field grows, the knowledge out there grows. So don't feel like you only can take it once. You can take it a couple of times, but those 2 trainings are required from the state of Michigan for pretty much all licenses. I'm not quite sure on that, but I think pretty much
for healthcare professionals for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, healthcare professionals are required to do, and other professionals, but healthcare for sure are required to do the human trafficking. And MAHACA, we offer those continuously. So make sure you go to our website to look to see when the next one may be. And we have developed training around implicit bias as well. The implicit bias, those both are requirements for getting your license and renewing your license for those. So whether you're just getting your new license, you have to have those trainings, or if you are renewing, then that training is required as well. I think that may cover. So we want to remind you that we've got videos 1, 2, and this is our 3rd video. There is a checklist, right? You want to make sure that you look at the checklist that will go in more detail on the videos that we have. And then there is a step-by-step, very detailed video on how to complete your license, on how to actually complete the application for your license. Am I missing anything, Lori?
I can't think of anything. I'm very excited for you to be in this process and to be joining us in our field. This is an exciting time to be in our field. There's been so many changes and growth and evolution of the professional counselor in Michigan that, again, welcome.
Welcome. Absolutely welcome. And welcome to becoming fully license. Welcome to dropping the L. There were a few limitations that you had when you were a limited licensed professional, and now those are gone. And it's the ball is in your court. And so that's it. That's it. See you on our next training video. Next, and if you've got something that you like us to talk about, we invite you to send us a note, drop a note at mmhcabi@gmail.com. That's Mahaka Bridging Initiative at gmail.com. All right. Thank you.
Good luck.